The Bible. Is it hard to understand?
When it comes to reading the Bible, the first thing that comes to mind is the fact that this is the Word of God.
The seals have been broken, and the truth is here.
And when we go throughout the scriptures, when we go throughout extra biblical records, we find that the language that God employed, that He used to create the heavens and the earth, was the Hebrew language.
Christ said, I came for the lost sheep of the house of Israel. But yet no one, no religious leader, no religious church out there anywhere can now identify the 12 tribes of Israel. Can we? God is quite simple, but it seems as if man makes understanding Him hard.
What are those mysteries?
The truth of your book and the truth will make you free. The Hebrew and Bible Academy, you're invited.
Numbers 6:22. For Ahiah spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto Aaron and unto his sons, saying, On this wise ye shall bless the children of Israel, saying unto them, Ahiah bless thee, and keep thee. Ahiah make his face shine upon thee, and be gracious unto thee. Ahiah lift his countenance upon thee, and give you peace. And they shall put my name upon the children of Israel, and I will bless them. Barakatham, Yasha'Allah.
Shalom, brothers and sisters. I'm Elder Rikar Shiar, along with Elder Lawyer, for your weekly Sabbath service. First of all, I would like to say all praises be to the Most High God of Israel. Ahiah, Ahiah, in the name of Yeshua, whom the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, through the Ruach, which is the Holy Spirit. Blessings, my brothers and sisters, and please, as you file in, I'm going to ask you to hit the like button. This way we can overcome the shadow banning that has happened to this channel. Oh yeah, this channel is under some serious watch. And I understand, and I know the majority of you understand why. Truth is here. Truth is here. Hit the like button. And don't forget, even after this, like, share, and subscribe to the channel. All right. And even after you subscribe, go to the channel, hit the bell. Okay. All the hurdles they have to have you go through to actually see our videos here. Truth. Hit the bell. And state that you would like to receive all notifications, because some people aren't notified until after the broadcast is done. Okay, they're trying to place this truth deep under their shadow ban, but it's okay. It's okay. We'll reach those who the Most High deem we reach. Right. Again, I'm Elder Rikar Shiar, and we're going into a lesson today titled Society Divided, Nation Against Nation. Okay, I have Elder Lawyer who will be assisting me today, as well as Elder Yarack. He's in the background, of course. And we have Elder Dell, who are mods for this particular weekly broadcast, okay? All right, so please hit the like button. And as you file in, hit the like and make sure you subscribe to the channel. Elder Lawyer, if you may, right? 1 second here. Let me get this. If you may, I need you to real quick do the Hebrew Credo.
Yes, sir.
The Sabbath Credo.
Shema Yasha'Allah Ahaya Allahayanawa Ahaya Akkad.
Shema Yasha'Allah Ahaya Allahayanawa Ahaya Akkad.
Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is one.
Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is one. And Elder Lawyer, speaking of Israel, speak of Israel right now before I go into the lesson. Let me tell you, brother, the powers that shouldn't be are panicking. I mean, when you have to resort to some of what I'm seeing online, you know that they're just throwing everything at the wall and hoping it stick now. Someone sent me a video where, and all due respect to them, Lord bless their heart, they got a video that's titled, "The 12 Lost Tribes of Israel Were White."
Wow.
It's a video. I mean, I'm talking about, I'm not talking about some regular run the mill New Jack type of I would say YouTuber. These are they that come from some type of theological background, who once taught that it didn't matter what color Israelites were. We're all Israel in Christ, and Israel, spiritual Israelites, could be anything except us. It didn't matter at first, but now, listen, they're shooting everything up against the wall now. They're going to come straight out and say, listen, Israelites are white people, and this is what we've always believed. Now, as long as our people believe that we were Gentiles and that we were accepted by the Jews if we follow Christ, there was no need for them to actually come out in front and state what they've always believed when they shaped the Christian theology. They always wanted to teach that they were the people, but didn't want to overtly or outwardly show their hand. They just allowed us to believe that they were Israel. By what? Hollywood. Cecil B. DeMille, 10 Commandments, Passion of the Christ. They were implying it the whole time, right? But now, guess what? They're not hiding it anymore. They're not sideways bringing it, okay? They got a video out there saying the 12 tribes of Israel, lost tribes of Israel, are white. That's the title of it. I'm like, man, they're shooting blanks at this point. They're shooting blanks at this point, but I digress, okay? We have always been the children of Israel. Knowingly or unknowingly. It doesn't matter our religious persuasion. It doesn't matter if we're running around thinking we're Muslim. That's a belief, not a nationality. It doesn't matter if our people are atheists. That's a belief, not a national origin. It doesn't matter if you are a Christian, okay, and believe in Christianity. That's a belief system. It's not a bloodline. They would rather you get caught up there and not realize that you are the prophetic people, according to promise. Because with staking claim to the genealogy, we're staking claim to Christ and the promises that comes with him, not only through our belief system, but through a promise that was given to our forefathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And that's what they're fearing here. That this is not just a belief system for us. We're taking back our national origin, and they are quaking in their boots. There's no way possible any religious theologian on earth can prove outright with a straight face that white people are from the lost tribes of Israel. It's almost insane for them to even overtly just come out there and just spew it now. At one time, they was willing to allow it to work the middle. Oh, no. You know, more so the research we're doing is, you know, Jesus was more Middle Eastern. Anything but black people, folks. They was willing to have us believe that Jesus was Middle Eastern, when Middle Eastern is a modern day term for that particular region. It was something made up. Okay? Because North Africa, folks, generally, North Africa is smack dab in the middle of what they call the Middle East. And Israel borders North Africa. It's a part of it. It's a part of it, folks. And speaking of Africa, Elder Lawyer, give me that Josephus real quick. I'm gonna take people to school a little bit. You know, I've been going into my thing. I'm gonna take people to school a little bit, Elder Lawyer. Even these so-called Pan-Africanists who believe, hold up, listen to me clearly, who believe that what? That Africa, that all life came out of Africa, right? They're partially right. But what are they not telling us? That name Africa actually comes from the sons of Abraham. That's not even an Hamitic term. That still links right back to our father Abraham. So they want to talk about the first man, but we can identify the first man in the Bible. His name is Adam. Okay? But if you want to go into the word Africa for you Pan-Africanists, let's go into history, Elder Lawyer. Mm-hmm. These are some of the things I pull out in the academy, but we got the sources. Let's go to chapter 15, Elder Lawyer, in your Josephus, and start reading from the top for me.
Yes, sir. Antiquities, book 1, chapter 15, verse 238.
Come on.
Abraham after this married Keturah, by whom 6 sons were born to him.
Go ahead.
Men of courage and sagacious minds.
6 sons that was born to Abraham through Keturah, his wife. Read.
Zambram and Jazar and Madan and Madian and Josabak and Sus. Now the sons of Sus were Sabathan and Dadan. The sons of Dadan were Latusim and Asor and Luam. The sons of Madian were Ephas and Ophran and Enoch and Ebedis and Eldis. Now for all these sons and grandsons, Abraham contrived to settle them in colonies, and they took possession of Troglodytis and the country of Arabia the Happy. As far as it reaches to the Red Sea, it is related of this Ophran that he made war against Libya and took it.
Ophran made war against Libya, which is what? North Africa. So it was the Shemite family that owned all those parts of Africa. I mean, all those parts of North Africa, Middle East, going all the way into what? The tongue of the Egyptian Sea. That was our people. It wasn't Hamitic people. Those were the sons of Abraham, Shemitic people. But let's speak of Ophran in particular. Read.
It is related of this Ophran that he made war against Libya and took it, and that his grandchildren, when they inhabited it, called it from his name Africa.
Called it from his name what?
Africa.
Called it from his name what?
Africa.
Africa comes from one of the sons of Abram by the name of Ophran. We are the original Africans through Abraham. So it still comes back to the Bible, folks. All this studying they're doing in Egypt and all that, and the information was right in front of them the whole time. The so-called white man that they claim to oppose, trick them into not going into their own Bible by setting up a new ideology called Egyptology. Black people didn't create that term. Black people didn't start Egyptology. White people did, to get you out of the Bible. Wake up. You can't even stake claim to Africa anymore. So Umar Johnson and all these other people, sit down. Okay? Because you don't even honor Marcus Garvey. Marcus Garvey believed in the Bible. Okay? That was his spiritual passion that led him to stand for his people. It was the Bible, not Africa as a religion. And if you want to go to Africa, we just took that from you too. Okay? Just sit down and learn the Bible over and over again. There's nothing wrong with that. Africa has been a con game using the United States. When none of these people that are talking Africa and sensationalizing it, none of them are actually going there to live. A matter of fact, Africans are coming over here. The gig is up. Africa belongs to Israelites too. Elder Lawyer, let's get the names again. Just tell them the chapter and the verse that they can find it. Hold it up. Hold it up, fool. We're going to take them to school today. The complete works of the Josephus unabridged. The history in which Josephus, an Israelite, was actually debating with all the high philosophers of all races, of all nations, right before our people fell in 70 AD, right before we lost our homeland, Jerusalem. That's right. All the discourses that he was slamming all of these other Greek philosophers, Egyptian philosophers, and all these other races who were trying to downplay Israelites' importance throughout all of history. Okay? Now that and more is in the Hebrew Bible Academy. Hey, I'm going in tomorrow and more. But folks, they can't even use Africa no more. And guess what? At the end of the day, the Most High pulled the rugs from under all these different ideologies that's outside of what? Bible prophecy. At the end of the day, to seek any type of refuge or get any understanding of what's going on, we're going to have to come back to this Bible. The white man tricked you out of it by making you believe it was his. Okay? He'll do anything to hold power. And I'm speaking of not just all white people in general, because some white people don't know anything. And I'm talking about the power structure, the religious structure, the organized crime of the Roman Empire, the Vatican. Organized religious criminals. They're behind making people believe that it was a white man book, whitewashing all the images, so that our people will relate our struggle and our oppression with those who have given us the Bible. You were tricked out of it. But if you learn today, if you open up your hearts today, it doesn't matter what you believe, you're going to understand the importance of this Bible and understand what's going on real time in the earth today. If it be the Most High's will, He'll open your heart to understand, to help you understand the Bible's value, even if you don't understand it all. And this is why the Most High sent teachers. If you're already looking at the Bible as a negative, when you go into it, guess what? That's all you'll see. That's all you'll find. Because it doesn't match your moral view of how things should be. Well, God doesn't have to adjust to man's view or to justify his word based on your small minds or any of our small minds. It's up to us to understand him and his word. Now, since we are talking, since we're already in the Josephus and we're bringing out some extra sources real quick. Zondervan Bible Dictionary, right? Real quick. Let me get him out of here. That's for tomorrow. That's for tomorrow, what I'm going to show right there in the academy. The reversal of roles. Since since we're here in books right now, right? I thought I would go here with you all, which leans into your lesson for today, for this Sabbath. Brothers and sisters, what are you viewing right here that's coming out of the rock? That's coming like something separately has grown out of this hill right here in the center. Well, in your Zondervan Bible Dictionary, brothers and sisters, it says that they have found the pillar of salt, which became the pillar that was once Lot's wife. The pillar of salt on Jebel Abzdun, hill of Sodom. Hill of Sodom, the mountain of salt, the western shore of the Dead Sea. The pillar of salt is known as Lot's wife. It's known as what? It's known as Lot's wife. Look at it, folks. Look at it. That's her right there. That's her right there. And the archaeologists have confirmed that this was something unique grown out of a mountain. Now, what I would like for them to do is drill into it and see if there's any human DNA, but I'm sure it is. But it's the exact place that God in the Bible, that the Bible gave reference to. Let me get it here. Hold on. It's the same pillar which the Bible gives reference to in the same location where something is growing out of a mountain that's eerily strange compared to other mountains. It's as if a hand or something is coming out of the side of the mountain, but it's really the pillar of salt who was once Lot's wife. Now, why am I going here? Society divided, nation against nation. Why am I going here? To show you how close we are to the end prophetically. Okay? That's why I'm going here. And it's not just divided between racial lines. Society divided is not just racial. Society is divided on many levels. And the most dangerous level is sexually. And the redefining of marriage. Hence the reason, brothers and sisters, I showed you Lot's wife. I showed you Lot's wife. And Christ told us to remember her. Remember her. So the nation against nation is the divide on racial lines. But there's another component that have went on long enough unchecked. We see the racial part of it, but the piece we don't see is the spirit that was on Lot's wife, who was in union with the gay men in Sodom. Who was in union with that society. You know why? Because that society empowered her. But the only way she could be saved was to follow her husband and not look back. She was supposed to follow her husband and not look back. It was her position to make sure the traditions and values of Abraham were instilled in her daughters. But she didn't. She allowed even her daughters to become free and all that and have the liberty that we call feminism today to actually partake in the lifestyle of Sodom. And this is why the daughters were actually off also. And that's why Christ said, let's get it. That's the one piece that have gone unchecked. And I've looked online and I've seen everyone is talking about what's going on, but no one has actually looked into the what? The biblical piece of all this. They think there's something that's going on. Women are the enemy or men are the enemy and all this other stuff, and not seeing what's prophetically going on here. We're all under attack. We're all under attack by allowing the spirit of Sodom and Gomorrah to politically control the narrative in the earth right now. And the first people they take through psychology are the impressionable women. That's a target because by default, if they can turn the women turn against us. And that's how Satan wins. Because Sodom and Gomorrah operates in the spirit of cowardness. They don't have a frontal straight up war with men because they are afraid of men. They don't come at men directly because they know men will crush them. So they use psychology to get to the women to weaken us and our families. That's how they do it. They try to align themselves with our sisters, with our family, to weaken us, knowing that we have love for our women, our family, because they're cowards. They don't have a frontal attack on men. They weaken our women to attack us indirectly. That's the spirit of Lot's wife. So when I talk about society divided, the race thing is the easiest thing to see, folks, but we're being attacked on every level. And if you're going to examine the spirit of Sodom, we must examine it all. Like, let me give you one example real quick. Matter of fact, Elder Lawyer, read that Remember Lot's wife for me first.
Yes, sir. This is St. Luke chapter 17, verse number 28.
Read it.
Likewise also, as it was in the days of Lot, they did eat, they drank, they bought, they sold, they planted, they builded.
Everyone was operating normally. Society thriving. Buying, selling, at the market, ordering clothes now. But guess what, folks? They had no idea that Sodom and Gomorrah, straight out, was days away from judgment. Everyone operating as if this place was going to go on forever. Christ said everybody which is operating in Sodom, like normal, going to the market, cooking, going to parties, doing weddings. Read.
But the same day that Lot went out of Sodom...
Hold up. The same day Lot went out of Sodom. Read.
It rained fire and brimstone from heaven.
It rained. Now here's a sign. It rained what?
Fire and brimstone from heaven.
Fire and brimstone out of heaven. Folks, when the righteous leave that the Most High have commanded to leave at a certain time, the judgment will come. Right now, you and I, we're all in warning season. There's still some people the Most High wants to save. So he sent forth teachers and have held off the winds of destruction until the numbers were sealed. Revelation 7. But when the righteous walk away, when the Most High command that time, it will rain again. And this is what the Most High said in this. Read it.
But the same day that Lot went out from Sodom, it rained fire and brimstone from heaven and destroyed them all.
And destroyed them all. Come on.
Even thus shall it be in the day when the Son of Man is revealed.
And it's going to happen again when the Son of Man is revealed. Now, when people talk about him being revealed, some people believe that it's just talking about him popping up. No. It's speaking most of all about the truth of him being revealed. The true gospel and the teachings that the Vatican tried to destroy. The knowledge of Christ would begin to bring again his people in the knowledge that was on the earth before the fall of 70 AD to reveal the true Christ, the Christ for his people, the Christ of his people, who is Israel, the Lion of Judah. He's being revealed. The Lion of Judah. Not that weak image they got up there of Cesar Borgia. Look like he's dying. Look like he's frailing from hunger on a cross. That's not the Savior. Our Savior, the Lion of Judah, lives. He lives. Okay? He lives. He was resurrected. And the only thing that Romans want you to look at is some frail and hunger guy with blood leaking out of him. That's not the Christ who left here, folks. He left in full power. And we're here to reveal to you that that's right. That same Christ will judge this earth. He lives, and he's empowered us to let you know that's right. He's being revealed. At the same time, this Sodom and Gomorrah is ripe for the judgment. Come on.
32. Remember Lot's wife.
Why did Christ emphasize for us to remember Lot's wife? He's talking about what? He's talking about the end of the world. The signs of the end of the world, and we're looking at everything else. Family divided, that's a sign. Earthquakes in diverse places, that's a sign. Race against race, that's a sign. But no one out there have isolated Lot's wife as one of the signs. So he made sure to tell her, listen, he's telling us right now, you better go back and read the stories of Lot and his wife. And any woman operating in that spirit will be turned to a pillar of salt. She'll get close, but won't make it. Remember Lot's wife. Now it tells us in Jasher, we go into the book of Jasher, that this woman was procrastinating. Lot is saying, hurry up. The angels just told him by this time, y'all got to be ready. They had time enough to walk out of Sodom and Gomorrah. But she was procrastinating because why? She did not want to go. She didn't want Sodom destroyed. Her heart was in it. She had gay friends. And the ideology that came behind it. Let me show y'all something, folks. Let me show y'all something. Real quick. Or she was influenced by the politics of Sodom and Gomorrah. By the politics of Sodom and Gomorrah. Let me move this out of the way here. The politics of Sodom and Gomorrah. Let me give y'all some examples of what I mean by the politics. Okay, folks, also, get ready when you see these particular articles, all right, in the future. Get ready for them to now go into the scare campaign leading up to this fall as well as the midterm elections, because they did the same thing in 2020. Okay? Same thing, same exact thing. Okay? Look for them to go into this, folks, where they're going to talk about the scare of numbers and all that, and how things that things are heightening up again, another variant. Get ready for this so that they can now try to do what? See if they can now have those ballots come in like it was in the other election, where people don't even actually have to go out there. Let me put it out that way. So watch for them to talking about the numbers going up. But in particular, Elder Lawyer, I looked at the story on these scares that they have all over the place, claiming that vaccine passports, in Africa and all that. At the same time, they sending money to Africa, right? And then I looked at this and says mass mandates. LA County inches closer to mass mandate. We have a ton of transmission right now. Now, folks, I'm out and about. I talk to family. I see people out there playing. I see children playing in the schoolyard, and no one is seeing this transmission and stuff that the news are talking about, outside of them saying that they see something. They're moving it up to another scare so that by fall and winter, they're back into the same old stuff they scared us into before. But in particular, Elder Lawyer, I noticed that they usually use one of our people, a black face, to scare us. This guy here. Now, let me make it clear. This guy doesn't represent us at all. But there's a reason why this particular guy wrote the article that would scare people before the elections. Why? National reporter. He doesn't represent us, but they'll make you believe that this is a black man who represents masculinity and speaks for us. But no, when you look at this guy who's trying to scare us, right? He's tweeting, LBGT friendly doctors focus on better education for the gay community. Now, what is his interest? See? Folks, y'all better watch out. Y'all got to see what's going on here. Why? Because black men understand that the whole political system is decked against us, and we're no longer going to be down with a party that been utterly decimating our people, which is the Democrat Party. And the reality is, none of our people should support any of it unless they're talking about what they're going to do for every one of our families who are descendants of those of chattel slavery here in America, period. But why does this guy has an entrance? Why does this guy want us to be scared by the time of elections? You know why? Because the political resources that once came to us are going to his group, the group he joined. He aligned himself against his own people. That's why. He must scare us into voting and doing all these things so that he can now get the resources through the associations he's a part of. That's why. This is how they're continually funding that lifestyle against our people, our community. Why am I going there? So get ready for another finesse. Okay, get ready for another finesse by them scaring us. Oh, the boogie, the white nationalists and the white people and the black man being shot by cops. Get ready for all of that right before midterm elections to scare people into believing they're supposed to support what's been destroying our people. The spirit of Sodom and Gomorrah are in league with the powers to be to dismantle families and to continue to do what? Genocide our people. And we're not going for it anymore. The Bible says, remember Lot's wife. This is why they getting people like that woman Abrams and others to come in front as if they represent our people. These women does not, Stacey Abrams, she don't represent us. Period. And black men altogether are waking up. I'm looking at all these Democrat cities that our people loyally supported as Democrats since I was what? Since I was 4 or 5 years old. Philadelphia. We can't blame this on Republicans. Not to say I support them either. But we must look at the devil who have destroyed us inwardly. The gentrification, the destruction of our people, drugs all over the place, incarceration happened in what? Majority Democrat cities. And that was their plan against us the whole time. It's the spirit of Sodom and Gomorrah. Liberalism is the spirit of Sodom and Gomorrah. Now, Elder Lawyer, let's go back. So we can't talk about the divide and the signs and all that by letting you know real time how it's affecting us. We've been participating in our own demise without coming back to the only God who can give us the true vision on how to deal in society and know when what? And know when to back off it like Lot did. To know when to back away from it. Like our forefathers done and not be engaged in it. Let's get it, Elder Lawyer. Let's get the Sodom and Gomorrah story right? Let's get straight to it and let's get straight to it right now. So when they start bringing out these stories, folks, understand the certain people they putting in place to push their initiatives because they know no real black men and no real black women are not going to support their agendas. So this is why the country is actually funding that particular group above any other group. This is where they can get their faces to look like us, to represent us, who are really against our people. Wake up. Straight up. Let's get it. Come on, Elder Lawyer. Let's do it.
Yes, sir. Genesis 19, verse number 15.
Come on.
And when the morning arose, then the angels hastened Lot, saying, Arise, take thy wife and thy 2 daughters which are here, lest thou be consumed in the iniquity of the city.
And Lot was warned. I'm going to save you, your wife, and your children. Now, you noticed last week, and guess what? I went straight from last week, the destruction of Noah, to this side of the flood. Sodom and Gomorrah, where they began to redefine marriage. Now, let alone, people can choose whoever they would like to be with. People can do what they want to do, and that's on them, because at the end of the day, each individual must meet and will meet his or her maker. So I don't care if somebody want to, deal with perversions or deal outside of the biblical definition of relationships and marriage. But at the end of the day, it's when we start co-signing on it is the issue. When we begin to ignore the long-term effects of now what? Participating or agreeing without doing what? Stating that there should be some level of shame attached to such behavior. When we start agreeing or helping or politically being down with something that we've known for years destroy family, that's when God becomes angry. Because what? These people aren't going to stop. It's not going to stop with just them getting rights. Okay? They've been incentivized to dismantle society, to dismantle family. No family, no future. So here it is. The Most High sent angels into Sodom and Gomorrah and said, Lot, get your wife, get your daughters. We're destroying the city. Read.
Verse 16. And while he lingered, the men laid hold upon his hand, and upon the hand of his wife, and upon the hand of his 2 daughters, the Lord being merciful unto him, and they brought him forth and set him without the city.
And they set him outside of the city. Now, when it says while they lingered, now, why were they lingering? In the book of Jasher, it tells us that Lot's wife was procrastinating. She really didn't want to leave. She was comfortable. They made a home there. Her children, all of her children friends were there. Now also, this is the reason why Lot's daughters end up laying down with their father in incest, knowing it's against the law. Because these were the perversions they were taught in the city. Hence the reason why Lot said, don't touch the men, take my daughters before you touch the men, because they were already turned out under a liberal society. They were already turned out in the city of Sodom. And guess what? It goes into detail concerning that in the book of Jasher. It highlights the real reason why these women thought it was okay to lay with their own father. The mother was procrastinating, and the daughter started learning what their mother was doing. Anti-God, anti-Christ, pro-Sodom and Gomorrah. That's right. Lot's wife, that's right, folks. Lot's wife is the personification of what? A liberal woman. A liberal woman is Lot's wife. So even the daughters were all free and all that out there learning what? Under a perverted city, a free city, a liberal city, like a lot of our cities now, like Chicago, North Philadelphia. They have run roughshod over us. And now they've taken over and being incentivized against our people. And no one can say anything against them. The same way it was in Sodom and Gomorrah, folks. I need y'all to understand this. Because those men, they weren't built like that. So now because these men, I'm going to say it outright. All right, okay. They got a little sugar type thing going on. They know that they can't oppose real men face to face. So they go to college, get a psychology degree, and start doing what? That's right, tricking our women like Lot's wife was tricked. I'm a man. I'm going to tell you right now, there's a lot you don't know about a man. And they sitting there, and how can a woman listen to that type of thing? And you will sit there and listen. You better look at your options out there. The men ain't no good. And here it is. She's sitting there listening to this, going to a party with these people, hanging out, and thinking it's cute to have this type of scenario, not realizing you are being circumvented. And are exposing your child to serious danger. Serious danger. Finish reading, come on.
Yes, sir. Genesis 19, verse 17. And it came to pass, when they had brought them forth abroad, that he said, Escape for thy life, look not behind thee, neither stay thou in all the plain. Escape to the mountains, lest thou be consumed.
And this is what they do. They get a psychology degree, folks. This is what these colleges are pumping out. Sodom and Gomorrah, and are sending them out as the leaders of our society. Look at the press secretary right now over the United States. Check her out. And we're supposed to accept her because of the skin she's in? Well, the people in Sodom and Gomorrah were black. The people of Sodom and Gomorrah were black people, folks. So I'm supposed to support someone because they look like me? Hades to the no. They've incentivized a lifestyle of people who hates us, who hates men. And especially a man who believes in God. They hate that because they know that, guess what? That's the man that the Most High have empowered in this earth through his spirit to set it all straight, starting with his son. So they're indirectly looking to use the lifestyle and turning our women to destroy the only men left to protect this world, to protect our families. And that's why Christ stated, remember Lot's wife. That's right. She's their secret weapon. Because you can see a guy twitching down the street like he's a girl or something. You can see that coming a mile away. Switching and putting on mascara. You can see that a mile away. But then the Bible tell you, keep your mouth from her that lieth in thy bosom. The one you're sleeping with, have she been turned by him? Through politics, through media, through articles. Have she been turned by him? That's their secret weapon. And this is why I'm going into tomorrow. I got graphs, I have articles, I have sources, resources, everything you need to break this down. The modern day Adam, Eve, and the serpent. And I believe it be the Most High's will is going to be one of the more profound teachings we have done to date that can break it all down. And I'm looking at that, Elder Lloyd, I'm like, all of these signs that Christ have given us in Matthew 24. And out of all the signs, he says, but hold up, remember Lot's wife. Mm-hmm. That would be the one thing we weren't looking for as signs of the end. A woman who cooperates and help, that's right, who help the city of Sodom against her own man. And the Most High didn't save Lot's family for her sake. He saved the family for Lot's sake. Now, suppose we would have been living in a system where the system would have empowered her to become the leader of the family. Just imagine that. An upside down family where a woman is in control over a man is a family of Sodom that can be controlled by, that's right, those same people who go to college and learn how to manipulate our women through psychology. You wait till tomorrow. Man, they can't come fast enough. Finish reading, Elder Lawyer.
Yes, sir. Verse 18. And Lot said unto them, Oh, not so, my lord. Behold now, thy servant hath found grace in thy sight, and thou hast magnified thy mercy, which thou hast showed unto me in saving my life, and I cannot escape to the mountain, lest some evil take me, and I die.
Come on.
Behold now, this city is near to flee unto, and it is a little one. Oh, let me escape thither. Is it not a little one? And my soul shall live. And he said unto him, See, I have accepted thee concerning this thing also, that I will not overthrow this city for the which thou hast spoken. Haste thee, escape thither, for I cannot do anything till thou be come thither.
Come on.
Therefore the name of the city was called Zoar. The sun was risen upon the earth, and Lot entered into Zoar. Then the Lord rained upon Sodom and upon Gomorrah brimstone and fire from the Lord out of heaven.
Come on.
And he overthrew those cities and all the plains and all the inhabitants of the cities, and they which grew upon the ground.
Come on.
But his wife looked back from behind him.
His wife did what?
But his wife looked back from behind him.
But his wife looked back from behind him. And folks, this is not a legend. It's not made up. This is the exact location that the Bible specifies, where Lot's wife still stands in a pillar of salt. You're going to tell me the Bible isn't real? And the Most High left this here for a monument for all generations to remember. Especially the generation who would be living in the times of the end. He left this as a memorial to prove that the stories in the Bible are correct. Read.
But his wife looked back from behind him, and she became a pillar of salt.
And she became a what, Elder Lawyer?
A pillar of salt.
A pillar of salt. We have it written right here. Hold up the book, Elder Lawyer. It says a pillar of salt at Jabeel Uzdom. She became what, Elder Lawyer? Let's read it again. She became what?
Yes, sir. The book of Genesis chapter 10, verse 26. But his wife looked back from behind him, and she became a pillar of salt.
And the mountain grew around her, folks. Through time, the mountain grew around her. And right here at the edge of where this mountain is, there's salt that develops where you can go scrape salt, sea salt, to go on food and all that. The mountain, folks, grew around her. She became a pillar of salt. She became one with this particular mountain.
Quick precept on that.
Go ahead.
Wisdom of Solomon chapter 10, verses 6 and 7. When the ungodly perished, she delivered the righteous man who fled from the fire which fell down upon the 5 cities.
Lot.
Of whose wickedness, even to this day, the wasteland that smoketh is a testimony.
It's a what?
A testimony.
This particular image, according to our prophets, said that it would be here in the last days as a testimony. Read.
And plants bearing fruit that never come to ripeness, and a standing pillar of salt.
And a what?
A standing pillar of salt.
She's still there, brothers and sisters, as a standing pillar of salt. The God of Israel is real. She's still there with her stubborn behind, not listening, not following her husband. She's still there. Read.
And a standing pillar of salt is a monument of an unbelieving soul.
Of an unbelieving soul. Of an unbelieving soul. That's why all of these liberals in the world, this liberal agenda, is outright anti-Bible, anti-God. It's the spirit of Sodom and Gomorrah. And every year they want to try to charge us up. Charge us up with some racial conversation, some political racial conversation. They want to trigger us through race and try to get us back into their political systems so that they can keep those programs going financially to destroy our families, to destroy our people. They're not there because of mass and all this other stuff they're saying. They're trying to trigger us or because they care for our health. They're there to continue their funding politically and are afraid if the other side gets in that their funding will get cut off. And they need our people to support them. We need to step away just like Lot. It's like, no, y'all got this. And the good women, the good sisters, Don't get politically involved in none of it. If they knock on your door and try to convince you and all that, tell them to get out of your face. Look at my neighborhood since you've knocked on my door. If Barack Obama couldn't help us, no one can. That was their last shot. Then they triggered us under Trump and all that. On the race side of things. When all in all, believe it or not, the Republicans are conservative where we were more conservative before the civil rights movement. We cared about children. We cared about family. We cared about God. And they allowed, and guess what? Our so-called political leaders allowed ourselves to be aligned with those of the spirit of perversion, the spirit of Sodom, politically. And now that we've aligned ourselves with it, what? We're also right for the judgment for hooking hands with them, in arms with them politically. The judgment on them will come on us because when we vote, we're voting for them. And this is why they just nix the black man all together. Let's just focus on the black women. They think that they think you're stupid. They think you're easily triggered emotionally based on an individual circumstance for the moment. That's what they think. When brothers are saying, you know what? We good now. We good. We understand what's going on. And I'm glad there's brothers out there stating out there saying, listen, unless you do something directly for our people and financially, and give our people the finances to control their own communities outside of politics, no thank you. Okay? Another thing let me put out there. Our people don't care about no prison reform. Okay, that's an insult. That's an insult by saying prison reform as if all of us are prisoners. All of us are criminals. That's an insult. No people are asking for no criminal, no prison reform. Or early child mortality. No one cares about none of that crap. We care more about what the Most High says. We want our families back the way they were before the liberals came in and destroyed it. We want our God back. We want our Bible back. We've already taken our name back. And we don't want anyone politically over us that deal in the spirit of Sodom and Gomorrah because you are adverse against the God of our Bible. Now, if they're going to put that on the ticket, if they put that on the ticket of the lawyer, then maybe we can talk about something. Right? But this is why I titled this, not only society divided, nation against nation, because we're divided on societal lines with who we're going to deal with sexually now. That became a political agenda in the earth without anyone seeing it as a serious sign. As a serious sign. And they have recruited our women. Read that part when it says, remember Lot's wife. Let's go.
Yes, sir. Verse 26, but his wife looked back from behind him, and she became a pillar of salt.
She became a pillar of salt. A pillar of salt, folks. And as you can see here, let me pull it up again. The Bible is real. The Bible's real. And not only was Lot's wife off, it was her position to instill the values and traditions in her daughters that was taught through what? Through Shem, Abraham, the sons of the righteous. But she became liberal and she began to teach her daughters the liberal life of Sodom. The Bible covers everything, doesn't it? Let's go back to what it says, remember Lot's wife, Elder Lloyd.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Let's go back to Matthew real quick, if you don't mind. Luke.
St. Luke chapter 17, verse number 34.
Yeah.
Remember Lot's wife.
Remember Lot's wife. Remember her. Why? Because when you look at the signs of Christ's coming, it's easy to remember all the other signs. When an earthquake comes, when there's a high earthquake, like what happened in Haiti, the Bible says what? There shall be earthquakes in diverse places. We can't forget that, because you can feel an earthquake. When he says nation against nation, that means race against race. We see racism all the time. There's no need to remember that. But out of all of the signs, folks, he said, remember Lot's wife. What is Lot's wife? The spirit of the liberal woman today. The liberal woman is Lot's wife. Now, I got the stats, I got the charts, I got the scriptures. I'll deal with all that tomorrow. But it's a shame because women becoming Lot's wife isn't something intentional. It's part of the indoctrination in our country, in the Western world. They think they're doing what's right. They're doing what their parents told them to do. So that's what's deep about it. What Lot's wife did was intentional. But Satan turned that into a system, almost an industry of social engineering to create women from youth as girls to become what? The spirit of Lot's wife. The system, the modern system, has actually cultivated the spirit, have isolated what happened back there, and now are indoctrinating our women and our daughters in college to become adverse to their own nature, against their own nature. And hey, I'm going to be going into this tomorrow, folks. And then the men are at fault. Why? Because men have become soft, and being a strong man, you may underestimate a situation. You don't think that it's possible that a woman of certain nature can actually take you down based on your natural brute force. So your ignorance have led to some of this. And then the Bible tell you that the woman shall compass a man. What does that mean? Not surpass the man. She will never get ahead of a man. Because at the end of the day, folks, she will never get past a man. Never. Why? Because even if there's a gay man at the helm, she'll never be higher than him. And that's a gay white man. She'll never be higher than. Let alone Esau the hunter. So it doesn't mean that she will surpass the man. She knows exactly where that glass ceiling ends. She knows where that glass ceiling ends. She knows that when she goes to the job, that's where the glass ceiling ends. Whoever you see as your CEOs and those that are paying your check, you know that's a man you can't surpass. So if they trigger you against any men, it'll be what? Against your own. If they engineer you against a man, it will be your own, because that's the only place you can exercise it. The rebellion. Because they haven't set up a system where you can rebel against them. So this is why the Bible tells us about that sign. This is what Lot's wife, man, I was up this morning thinking on this. I'm like, he said, the only time the Most High emphasized remember are for laws and for instances that we as a people would forget. Remember the Sabbath, to keep it holy. We forgot that now the majority of our people worship on a Sunday. We forgot. The only time the Most High emphasized remember in the scriptures is something that we would probably forget. And we have slept on the sign of Lot's wife. She has been for a long time their secret weapon because no one sees her coming. She looks just like you. She's next to you. She's around you. See? You know what? Everyone knows her. She's cool to be around. See? Hey, I get a 7.5 earthquake. The most I don't have to say remember an earthquake. But he said, remember Lot's wife, Sodom and Gomorrah's secret weapon against man. Now let's go back to the beginning real quick, Elder Lloyd, before we break this down.
Yes, sir.
Matthew 24.
St. Matthew chapter 24, verse number 3. And as he sat...
Matter of fact, let me give some examples. Let me give some examples so that people can know, so that we don't have to have brothers and sisters question or read in between the lines when breaking down some of this, so that nobody can think that we're in code. We're speaking in parable or in code. An example: any woman who believes that the word submit is a bad word. To submit to a husband is a bad word. That's Lot's wife. Lot was warned by the angels. They were supposed to leave a long time ago. And because she didn't want to listen, they were almost destroyed in the fire with the evildoers. It tell you that in the book of Jasher that she was procrastinating. That's why she looked back. She loved Sodom and Gomorrah. So any woman who believed that the word submit in the Bible, which is a law to her husband, is a bad word, that's a spirit of Lot. Because when the time comes, when it's time to submit for your own life, you're going to be stubborn and it's going to kill the whole family. So that's something that must be exercised without resistance, even if it's against your indoctrination or your social engineering in this world right now. You're going to one day have to submit, which is to trust the man that you decided to love enough to lay down with. Even if it's against, and sometimes it hurts a woman to have to be able to just, a man say something or do something, and even though it's against her programming, to be, yes, sir. Yes, I respect that, yes. Even if it's against what she want to do. But the Jezebel spirit, or the spirit of Lot, which is even deeper because anyone can see Jezebel. The spirit of Lot, Lot's wife. No, let me tell you, the spirit of Lot's wife is not going to be like, well, yes. She's going to be like, you know what? That's controlling. I'm being controlled. No, you just don't know what submission is. You're resistant to submission. And now you're projecting that as if what? It's a fault in the person you're supposed to submit to. When if you don't exercise that on a normal basis, it's going to come a life or death situation like Sodom and Gomorrah had, and you're going to be resistant when it means what? It means life or death. If you're used to being resistant and arguing at every point, now, when that time comes, that's what's going to happen. And when the Most High is putting the Spirit on Lot, that man to save your behind, you're going to want a meeting first. A meeting of the minds. Or he's going to have to try to convince you to do what's right. And you're going to sit still because you don't see it right now. So that submission is something we must exercise against our Sodom and Gomorrah training. You have something, Mother Lawyer?
Yes, sir. Two quick ones. Proverbs chapter 5, verse number 1. My son, attend unto wisdom, and bound thine ear to my understanding.
Come on.
That thou mayest regard discretion, and that thy lips may keep knowledge. For the lips of a strange woman drop as an honeycomb, and her mouth is smoother than oil. But her end is bitter as wormwood, sharp as a two-edged sword. Her feet go down to death, her steps take hold on hell. Lest thou shouldest ponder the path of life. Her ways are movable, that she cannot know them. Hear me now, therefore, O ye children, and depart not from the words of my mouth.
And that you know that what? She's all over the place. She's all over the place. She can be swayed through politics, through other people, because there's no order. And that's how Satan wants his system. He wants that the system like this, where there's no order when it comes to the image of God on earth, man and woman. Any woman who feel that submission is a bad word and feel that that means controlling have been indoctrinated with what? The spirit of Lot's wife. Period. And I'm going to go into that tomorrow. And how men will sit back because we have brute force and because we're strong and allow these spirits to operate thinking within ourselves that what? This is non-threatening. We'll start believing because she's a woman and she's weak that her actions are non-threatening. Well, look at those jails being packed right now in our inner cities, and get some conversations with a lot of our brothers who are arrested. And you will see a lot of these interactions came out of a love for a woman or the care for a woman. Straight up. So you start to believe that these things, what, are non-threatening because what? It's only a dainty woman. Well, folks, it was Delilah who found out Samson's secrets. Samson had the power to snap her in half. Samson had the power to snap her in half. And you know what? He slept on her. So the only way, and it's beneficial if we all fall in our roles according to God, because at the end of it, the man and the woman is saved together, who are in order. Satan would have us believe that what? It's not beneficial for us to be in order. Let's go into Sarah real quick, where Sarah called Abram Lord. Let's get that. Boy, and guess what? This is why a lot of people are saying, listen, I don't believe in the Bible no more. I'm spiritual. Because they know with the Bible comes rules. Clearly defined roles. Only those who are out of order or hate order denies the authority of the Bible. Only those who are like, that's how you know the Bible is a deep book. Out of all the books in the earth, the Bible is the only book that religious people and others are afraid of. You don't hear nobody say, let's do away with the Quran. Let's do away with the Gita, the Book of the Dead. Let's do away with the psychology records that came from ancient China. Only the Bible has an X on it. you know, from all these different societies and different points of views, scholastically, religiously, and otherwise. The reason for this is the Bible has clearly defined lines. And this is why there's so much conflict in the earth, society conflict, nation against nation, because everyone have gone their own way through their own belief systems. And now what we're seeing the end result of it. The clashing of people. The clashing of people because the whole earth don't want to get back on code with God. There would be no arguments of sexuality and all these things if we just followed the laws of marriage according to God and how one should have relation, man with woman, so and so forth. There would be no arguments on gender or anything else if we were to follow the simple rules in the Bible. See? There would be no clashing against races because of color or all that if we followed the Bible, because every nation would be satisfied with the landmass God gave them from the beginning and prosper, like it will be when Christ returns. There will be no conflict of races if China was, if Japheth had the original land that was given to him and stayed within those borders, following the laws of his father Noah. There would be where would there be need of racial tension then? If they had their land, we had what was promised to us. There will be no conflict. And this is why everyone is against the Bible, because the Bible does what? It gives clearly defined lines on nations, race, sexuality, morality, ceremonies, tradition. It's a clear line. And if everyone followed it, listen, and I'm not just talking about Israelites. If everyone followed it, there would be peace. The conflict comes from the earth disobeying God. In conflict with this word. That's the conflict you see on earth. And now it have moved itself not just from nation to nation, but even in the same households, the same family, husband against wife, children rebelling against parents. It's moving its way throughout all of society. Next thing you know, the dogs are going to be biting its owner. That's how far, that's how far this thing has reached, because the earth refused to come back to the Bible. See? So this is why they hate the Bible. Because the Bible brings what? Absolute roles and rules. In this world don't want rules. Morality is subjective. See? Let's read it real quick.
Yes, sir. 1 Peter 3:1.
And this is why a lot of these people who call themselves spiritual, you ask your sister, go, yeah, what is your belief system? Now, at one time, they used to say Christian. At one time, you would see brothers and sisters, brothers too. There's a pastor out there who wants a pastor who calls himself spiritual now. He's out of his mind. Okay? But once you would ask the sister, oh, are you Christian? Yeah, I'm a Christian. But you know why they can't say they're Christian anymore? Because their lifestyle doesn't dictate their belief system. It doesn't represent what they claim to believe. So now they say, I'm spiritual. And folks, I've learned, young men, if you are a young man listening right now, if you run into a woman who says that she won't say she don't believe in the Bible. She'll try to claim, she gets a little bit, there's some things in the Bible she agree with too. If she don't stand on one belief system, saying that she's a Christian or a Muslim or whatever the case is, because guess what, brothers and sisters? You can work with an unbelieving Muslim initially, because a lot of those moral standings they have in Islam came from our father Abraham, and we can convert her into the truth. It's easy to get a Muslim woman to see the truth.
one structure.
It's one structure, right?
Right.
There's a core belief, Abraham, but we just have to show her where their errors are in doctrine and show them the truth of Christ. But their moral standards are close. You can work with that. You can convert her and have her believe. We have many women who are Muslim that are now in this truth. But if you get a woman before you young men, I'm talking to you young men right now, and she may look good and all that. If she tell you that she's spiritual, run. Because that's code for what the Bible identifies as a witch. It's code for witch. Lawyer, you moving. I see you got something, right?
Yes, sir.
All right, what you got?
What's that? Ephesians.
Yeah. We called him Lord?
Tossed to and fro.
Oh, tossed to and fro in different winds of doctrine?
Yes, sir.
All right, let's get that real quick. Hold on.
Yes, sir.
In Timothy, right?
Ephesians 4:14.
Ephesians 4:14, read it.
Yes, sir. I'll start at 13. Till we come in the unity of the faith and of the knowledge of the Son of God unto a perfect man, unto the measure of the stature of the fullness of Christ.
Come on.
That we henceforth be no more children, tossed to and fro, and carried about with every wind of doctrine by the sleight of men, and by cunning craftiness wherein they lie in wait to deceive.
They lie in wait to deceive. See? This is what they do. Because what they're not, if they say spiritual, you don't understand what their morality line, where that is. Mm-hmm. Okay? You don't know what's right or wrong according to this person's core beliefs.
Right. It's flexible.
It's flexible. I'm spiritual. So if you say you're spiritual now if they say they Muslim, I know outright how to interact with them, what their moral standards are, what they eat, what they don't eat, what is forbidden in their doctrine. Mm-hmm. They have a moral code. They have traditions attached. Even though I don't agree with the religion, there is some similar traditions that we can relate to. Mm-hmm. But if she says she's spiritual, hey, hold up. Satan is spiritual. Mm-hmm. Okay? Satanists are spiritual. So what you're telling you is she's a witch. Elder Lawyer, there's this new thing going on. This new thing going on. I'm going to go into it tomorrow. That's why, make sure if you're in the academy tomorrow, modern day man, woman, and the serpent, make sure that there's no children after the news, because we're going into an 18-year, we're going into an adult breakdown. There's a lot of weirdness going on in this earth. They got a thing out there called vabbing now. Have you heard about that, Yarack? Vabbing. Lord have mercy. And not only that, if you aren't a person who have knowledge and understanding according to God, if this is a regular woman sitting here listening to that and not without the knowledge, this woman breaking it down has such high psychology skills that I don't know one woman that I grew up with in the hood who would have heard this and not have done it. I have the knowledge to understand that it's witchcraft and it's sickness, folks. But Lord, young men, if a woman tell you she's spiritual, I don't care how good she looks, run. Okay? Looks are fleeting. They are fleeting, which means one day she's not going to look like that. And you know what? That's okay too. You can get with a woman and adore her beauty and know that one day she will age and you will age too. And you'll age together. But if you're getting with a person strictly for outward appearance, you're in trouble. That can be used as a craft. Looks are fleeting. One day she's not going to look like that. And what else? And then what you're going to be stuck, then what you're stuck with. Right? So, vabbing. Vabbing is where the psychologist came out and talked about the innate scent, which is an aphrodisiac that was used back in the day to make sure a man turned out of nowhere, attach himself to a particular woman when it comes to scent. Knowing that there's all this competition out there. This is a sickness that's out there. And it's women's private, whatever down private, rub in the back of her ears and on her neck with no perfume and go out into the public dressed saying this is going to do it for you. That's the sickness that are out there that the earth have allowed to fester in this earth, where they believe that this was the original perfume.
I mean, like pheromones, like when an animal gives off a scent.
That's what and that's what breakdown, the top pheromone guy getter. And there's no guy in his right mind going to sit next to a woman like that. And like, are you kidding me? What do you think of men? And that's why men are starting to speak up, because you're doing all the wrong things if you're trying to get a man. Men are starting to speak up and say, listen, you all have ran long enough with your foolishness. You're not going to get a man like that. That's witchcraft. That's sorcery. And it's time that men start standing up in this Bible and start what? Pushing back. Not like a brute. Okay, not in an abusive sense, but to say, you know what? Thank you, but no thank you. I'm going to let you sit there in your psychosis and deal with your madness. Thank you, but no thank you. Until you're willing to come back to the knowledge of God and learn again, like we had to. We're not dealing with it no more. This thing have gone too far. It's off the rails now. What does it say real quick about call a man with Abram, with Sarah? Called Abram Lord. Let's get it.
It says here in the book of 1 Peter 3:1.
1 Peter 3:1. Let's read it.
Likewise, ye wives, be in subjection to your own husbands.
Read it again.
Likewise, ye wives, be in subjection to your own husbands.
Be in subjection unto your own husbands. If any woman out there believes that this is a bad thing, you've been taught contrary to nature, and what? Will not have a protector in a time of need. If you think that what the Bible is saying here was something old, or guess what? Did this work more so to get us here, or what they're teaching now? What actually worked? What we're reading in old times, or what we're learning now? When families were actually together back here. And they would make people believe that women were unhappy. No, this was the happiest women were, when they didn't have to go out and hunt and do all the things that the Most High put naturally in men to do. Women were happier before the modern day feminist thing came to be. They were happier. Read it again, come on.
Likewise, ye wives, be subject unto your own husbands, that if they obey not the word, they also may without the word be won by the conversation of the wives.
Now, understand how it's stated that even if this woman is with a man who obey not the word. Read it again.
It says that if any obey not the word.
Read it, the beginning.
Yes, sir. Likewise, ye wives, being subject to your own husbands.
Unto your own husbands.
That if any Obey not the word.
So if you have a man, because sometimes women say, well, suppose this man isn't doing this. Suppose he's doing that. Am I supposed to stay submissive? Read.
They also may without the word be won by the conversation of the wives.
They can be won by the conversation of the wife. By the wife still staying in what? A virtuous spirit, regardless of what he's doing. Because it's about your happiness, someone not moving you out of your nature. See? That's not conditional. Submitting to a man that you submit in any other way. In love making and everything else, there's submission. That cannot be conditional. Why? If someone is coming to break into your home right now, you don't expect that man to protect you. You don't expect there to be some conditions on him going downstairs and getting rid of the threat. He's not going to say, babe, we just had an argument last night or yesterday. I don't know if I want to go. I don't know if I want to save you right now. Okay, that's not conditional. He's going to protect you regardless of whether or not you're butting heads, because that's his duty. That's his duty. It's not conditional for a man in a protector role. It's not to protect. So it's not conditional. Submission isn't conditional. It isn't conditional. Okay? The same way a protector and a provider isn't conditional. People are going to butt heads. Sometimes there will be disagreements and all that. But all that must happen in what? In its proper order, without without either side going contrary to nature. Contrary to nature. A man in his position and a woman in her position. Even in disagreements, either of them cannot get out of their nature. Which means men cannot get to a point where, and we've all gone there, where we become over emotional or sensitive. A woman cannot get to a point where she's rivaling a man as a man. And both must stay in submission to God. Now, suppose a man doesn't believe what you believe and all that. Or, he's there, but he's unbelieving. Well, the Bible tells about that too. Because innately, that man is still doing a lot according to the Bible without knowing the scriptures at all. He's going to work. He's providing for the house. He's looking over the children. And if someone opposes you, he will put down his life for you. Without knowing the Bible, he's already following a lot of those laws in agreement with your relationship. See? And this is what the Bible is talking about here. Now, some of this I'm going to be talking about tomorrow with the graphs and all that, but I needed to put out something today highlighting the societal clashes by letting adverse people in, perverted people in, to have an opinion on straight families. We must X them out of the conversation altogether. They cannot relate to us. We have to stop letting these Sodom and Gomorrah people influence our thinking. They're the ones telling our sisters, girl, you got to be independent, do all this other stuff and all that, so that they can have more, so that they're women that's out of order, doing all type of adverse things one with another. They're doing this to recruit our sisters into their lifestyle. If you cannot be with a man, now they got more in their numbers. See? So we started there, but now we're moving it now. We're moving it to now. It's just, these are straight people we talking about now. Read it again.
Likewise, ye wives, be in subjection to your own husbands, that if any obey not the word,
that means your man doesn't understand the Bible, or he probably don't even come look at our classes. He probably mad that you look at us, or whatever the case is. He don't obey everything that you're looking at. He don't agree with it. So just say if you have a man who don't know the truth, who isn't as interested in this Sabbath class as you are. Read.
that if any obey not the word, they also may without the word be won by the conversation of the wise.
See that? It's the submission of the woman and not getting out of turn with him that will one day allow him to, in your absence, to check out what you're seeing. Because you didn't rebel against him with the knowledge. You became more submissive with it, more agreeable with it. So, I mean, who don't want that deal? I got a better woman since she been looking at this stuff. Hey, I need to look at it too. I need to see it too. But if you, hey, here it is, there's stuff you're not preparing and there's things coming down the line and you're not preparing and you're not doing, he's looking at you like, hold up, I work, I do whatever I have to do. You're going to look online and tell me I have to change my house because of what you're looking at? You're overstepping your bounds, woman. That's what a real man would do. Even if you're right. Even if you're right. That man shouldn't be respected if he's providing and being good to you. He didn't choose to go online and find something that would turn his life upside down. You did. And it's okay. But if you want to win your husband, you'll become what's in the Bible to him. He look up, he got some breakfast in bed with strawberries and, you know what I mean? The syrup was warmed up without the microwave. And he's sitting there, you know, strawberries on his French toast and beef bacon, sitting there waiting with some home fries. He wake up in the morning, the coffee waiting. And juice. Dang, baby, is it our anniversary? What's going on here? No, honey, I just wanted to let you know how I appreciate you. And the more I go into this Bible, the more I see these brothers teaching, it's like I can see how I was turned, this feminism thing, how it affected me. And when I seen these brothers teach, it taught me to appreciate you even more. You mean to tell me you seen those brothers and I got breakfast in bed because of that? That's the power of a woman. The influence can be used either way. Satan tried to use that same influence for his political system to oppose the man. But on the other hand, the woman got that same power virtuously to be able to convince her man to do good. That's right. What we're talking about is the antidote against feminism. Sisters have the power with this word to turn it around. Come on, let's go.
Verse 2, while they behold your chaste conversation coupled with fear.
See, and they understand that you don't talk about the things you used to talk about. Your conversation is more about what? Righteousness, the love of your people, doing what's right. You're not into these rumor conversations, these worldly conversations anymore. That you've actually changed for the better. Because of this truth, this man has a better wife. No arguments, no disagreements. And even if there's a disagreement, there's humility. Listen, honey, listen, we probably don't see it right now, but it's okay. It's all right. I don't have to be right. You don't have to be right. Let's have peace. Right? Right? Read.
Verse 3, whose adorning let it be not that outward adorning of plaiting the hair, or of wearing of gold, or of putting on apparel.
Now, why does it state this, brothers and sisters? It states this simply because these are the areas women usually pay attention to, and believing that's all they need to get a man. They spend all of their time on the outward, believing that that's going to keep a man. And it's not. A matter of fact, it's the competition have gotten so fierce out there since the advent of social media. Women are thinking they need to cake it on more and even grow. She got nails 3 inches. Let me get nails 7 inches. The competition has been so fierce that women have put all of their, I'm going to tell you, they put all of their collateral, all of their value in just dressing themselves and adorning themselves. They think that the hair, the makeup, the nails, and all these things is going to do it for them. And now Paul is saying, listen, and guess what? Who don't want a woman who take care of themselves? So this ain't saying, this is not saying that a woman shouldn't value making sure she looks good. A man loves this. But this thing done went overboard. It has gone overboard. It's to a degree where now we have to reel this thing back and have an honest conversation where the women listen to the men and give the men what the man that they're going to be with for the rest of their life, what he wants, opposed to the competition with all these women who are doing all this stuff to satisfy that competitiveness that's insatiable. That's never satisfied because there's going to already be a new fad. There's going to be some new lashes, new types of hair. There's going to be all of that. And guess what, sisters? You can't keep up without losing yourself. It's too much. It's going to come a time where you listen to the man and the man will say, like, listen, I don't want none of it. I want the beauty under all of that. That's what I want. And not feel offended because of it. No. I want who God made you. Because that's exactly what the men have been saying and are afraid to talk about, knowing that there will be an argument. But if you were to ask a man to be honest, he'll tell you he don't want none of it. It costs too much, it's too much time, and it's too much time taken away from what he needs from you. He'd rather you invest that time that you will be sitting with nails and hair and all that into your children. And before all of this stuff, you were beautiful anyway. You're still beautiful. And Satan wants you to cover that up. See? Read that again.
Verse 3, whose adorning, let it not be the outward adorning of plaiting the hair,
come on,
or of the wearing of gold, or of putting on of apparel.
And that brings me to China, which I'm going into in a moment. I'm about to transition the last piece of this to China. They strategically put these beauty salons and all that in our area, knowing that it was adverse to God, adverse to the Bible, where it would consume so much of our women time, our women time, that our women would begin to lack in being a wife to a husband, a mother and a nurturer to her own children. They did this as a form of distraction to make beauty a competition, a pageant in our community. This was strategic. When the real beauty in a woman comes with the submission to her man. When that man can take the pressure off of her, where she don't have to be out there running like a man, working and trying to compete and end up running out of fuel altogether and eventually crash. She'll eventually crash trying to keep up. And our sisters are tired. They're tired. They're tired of it. They put on a good face when they're amongst the people, but man, when they get home, I don't want this, but this is the rat race I've injected myself in. And the Most High is saying, you can stop at any time. Christ is letting you know, listen, at any time you can stop this. You can regain yourself at any time if you want. Stop dealing with the peer pressure. Lot's wife peer pressure, because Christ loves you. And guess what? He loves you with all the aesthetics. And your man will love you even more because you're investing more time, not just in your outward, but in your family. In your family. See? Let's go.
Yes, sir. Verse number 4. But let it be the hidden man of the heart.
Let it be the hidden man of the heart.
In that which is not corruptible, even the ornament of a meek and quiet spirit.
A what?
A meek and quiet spirit.
A what?
A meek and quiet spirit.
Let that be the personification or the example of who you are. A meek and quiet spirit. And see, and this is why the media would like to portray our people who are tired and all that in the state of their ratchetness. To show that they have socially engineered our people against nature. So if you want a meek and quiet spirit, some people might think, well, I'm not like that. You know what I mean? I'm boisterous. And some of us try to brag that this is that a man have to accept one like that. Well, no. The Bible says you cannot keep a house with a dragon or a lion. A woman is a man's pillar of rest. When he come home, the last thing he need is something boisterous or disagreeable. The Bible says that when a husband get a wife, he getteth a possession. And also what? A pillar of rest. He's rushing home because he's excited. He's excited about what's waiting for him. That's what's exciting him. That he can slay the dragon, he can fight on the outside, he can do all the battles he can on the outside to look forward to the rest he gets at home. Read.
But let it be the hidden man of the heart, and that which is not corruptible, even the ornament of a meek and quiet spirit.
A meek and quiet spirit.
Which is in the sight of God of great price.
Which is in the sight of God of great price. Now, the people on the outside might try to claim you're weak or being controlled or he's not worth it and all this other stuff. But in the eyes of God, the Most High has begun to honor your humility, that you have fought against the spirit of Lot's wife. And now you are reaping the benefits from that man who appreciates what? A humble and loving helpmeet. It's not conditional the other way around. Well, if he's this way, I'll be that way. Nah. You cannot have a Mexican standoff with a man. Because a real man isn't going to yield. So it's not like, well, if he be this way, I'll be submissive. Nah. You just have a standoff because a man is not going to back down. Not a real man. So now we have to try something different. We have to try you doing what Christ said you're supposed to do as a woman. And now you will reap the benefits of seeing that man. That's right. Honor and respect you for respecting him. It's not, well, I'm not going to be submissive. Submissive. Let me say it again. Submission, a woman to a man, has never been and is not and will ever be conditional. Never be. Will never be conditional. And some people might say, well, hold up, that's unfair. It shouldn't be this way. Well, it is fair. You know why? This is why. The Most High in the beginning set it straight because Eve ate the fruit first. So it would appear to be unfair. It would appear to be that way. But she ate it first and gave it to her husband. That's why it seems unfair. And the Most High put the curse in so that she could submit to her husband, not to fall through what? Fall to the ideologies of Satan going forward. This is why it seems like it's an unbalance. But the Most High, he have never put anything in that wasn't right, that wasn't for a just cause long term. I feel I'm being controlled. Oh, you want to be free to do what? To die? Finish reading, Elder Lawyer.
Yes, sir. Verse number 5.
Come on.
For after this manner, in old time, the holy women also who trusted in God adorned themselves.
The holy women who trusted in God, and this is going to be the few percentage of women that who makes it, who trusted in the Most High. Read.
And like it says, for after this manner, in the old time, the holy women also who trusted in God adorned themselves, being in subjection to their own husbands.
That was her first adornment. Not the hairstyles, not the nails, not the makeup. She adorned herself publicly. In her public what? In her public, I would say, the public example when people were viewing their relationship on how she was willing to submit to her husband publicly. That's how she adorned herself. It wasn't about how she looked and what she had on. It was more so about her complimenting the man who had her on his arm. That was the adornment. Not who she was, but her being hooked to a man that she was willing to publicly submit to and not be ashamed. That was the true adornment. And guess what? That's what most liberal, Lot's wife, Jezebels, that's what they hate about a virtuous woman more than anything else. Why? Because they know with their attitudes, they can't get that. A real man isn't going to be with that. This is what they envy. And this is why they get blogs, they get videos, and they do all this to convince you to be lonely with them. When the real adornment is a woman who's willing in all her beauty and happiness to adorn herself with a man she respects and will submit to publicly. See? But the other women, the lonely women, will adorn themselves with all of this stuff, but there's no man in sight. With not one man in sight. Now, I'm going to go into it more so tomorrow, but this is why Christ told us, remember Lot's wife. Remember her, and then compare her to the daughters of Sarah. Women who are not ashamed to submit to her husband, who's not ashamed to be in order. And then put both of these women before the people, and then have women, sisters, make a choice. Do they want to be Lot's wife or the daughters of Sarah? Let's read it.
It says, verse 6, even as Sarah obeyed Abraham, calling him Lord, whose daughters ye are, as long as ye do well.
Whose daughters ye are, read.
As long as ye do well.
As long as you do well.
And are not afraid with amazement.
And is not afraid with amazement. What does it mean, not afraid with amazement? You're not directed through the peer pressure that comes with lonely women. And women, when I say lonely women, I'm talking about women who've been totally convinced that feminism is right, with no prospects in sight. You're not peer pressured by them. Because you know that if you submit, you be virtuous, and you're doing what God say, even as a person who's single, that the Most High is looking down on your humility, and he will send that man. He will send that man. But the stubborn, and those that are stubborn, will stay in their stubborn frame and mentality, and they'll eventually see their circle grow with the same people with that stubborn. That's the word for it. They'll see their circle grow with the same women who refuse to submit. Now, this is a perfect segue to my lesson tomorrow, because tomorrow I'm really going to focus on, matter of fact, at the end, I'm going to tell you what I'm going to be focusing on at the very end of this class. But go ahead.
Verse 7, likewise, ye husbands, dwell with them according to knowledge, giving...
Where she say, Lord? Is that in there?
Yes, sir. Verse 6.
Finish reading.
Even as Sarah obeyed Abraham.
Now listen to what the Most High tells the man to do now in the word. Read.
Starting from verse 6. Even as Sarah obeyed Abraham, calling him Lord.
Before that.
Yeah, verse 6. Oh, you want to go before?
Go before that.
Verse 5. For after this manner in the old time, the holy women also who trusted in God adorned themselves, being in subjection unto their own husbands.
Being in subjection to their own husbands.
Even as Sarah obeyed Abraham, calling him Lord.
As Sarah obeyed Abraham, calling him Lord.
Whose daughters ye are, as long as ye do well.
Whose daughters you are, as long as ye do well. Listen, Abraham's wife, when Abraham would come into the room, she would say, hi, my Lord. Blessings, my Lord. Because she understood the power in him that was endued on him through God. Yes, my Lord. Yes, my Lord. And this is why years ago, that comedy that came out, and don't tell me they don't know scriptures. Coming to America, part 1. When it starts out and there's an arranged marriage for Eddie Murphy, and that woman says, then Eddie Murphy says, what do you like to do? She says, anything you would like to do, my Lord. What is your hobbies? Any hobby you like to do, my Lord? And he says, anything I say, she says, yes, my Lord. Every man in that theater, because I was there when it first came out, every man in that theater thought that Eddie Murphy was out of his mind coming to America to get that woman. Like, what? That don't mean she's stupid. That don't mean she's crazy. That doesn't mean that she's weak. He's able to mold her into the helpmeet for himself. This woman will become a happy woman because she has a husband like unto himself, like unto herself, because he's molding her. And this guy goes to Queens. Yeah.
Did you notice the psychology they did at the end of that? They literally made her hop on one foot and bark like a dog.
Yeah.
So a woman looking at that is like...
Exactly.
Right.
See, but the whole thing is they made submission, they put a negative connotation on it, having her get on a woo, 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 woo. Right. Saying a submission woman would do all that.
Right. See, that's the beauty of the scriptures, because directly after it gives the example of Sarah calling Abraham Lord, it then comes back and says that the husband must dwell with her according to knowledge. So, if a husband is dwelling with his wife according to knowledge, he's not going to tell her to stand on one foot and hop and make dog noises and do jumping jack or anything that would be foolishness. Yeah.
And I'm just saying, don't forget, when I first seen Coming to America, that was before the Most High gave me the truth. That was before I had the knowledge I was an Israelite. And I seen that dark-skinned, beautiful woman up against a lighter-skinned girl who's a little on the thin. And guess what? They weren't even on the same level when it comes to the world standards. The first girl Eddie Murphy, that came to Eddie Murphy, that was given to her, was way more beautiful than the woman he chose. And that was in the world. And I'm like, where's this movie going? You want someone who's gonna argue with you and right? Nah, this woman is willing to be a helpmeet to you. That's right. That means I'm glad. Hey, it was a lot of laughs. One of the greatest classics I've ever seen. But guess what? That movie would have been over after that scene. There would be no need to come to America if you're comparing those two, and that's the world. But this was what? It was social engineering. It was psychology to make women believe that a woman who submits to a man is a fool, would jump on one leg and would do all this other crap. No. What would happen is she would become a wife like unto himself, and as she grows with wisdom, she would become his counselor. Because she knows him better than anyone else. She would become his counselor. She would grow with him and become his counselor. Why? Because if this king goes down, I go down. She'll become your protector. She'll learn how to run the kingdom watching you as an extension of you. So she'll learn how to buy grain, buy provinces, trade, sell, because she's next to you learning everything. You don't want no woman arguing at you and you're running everything and she's arguing with you with it. Well, no. You want someone who know the way you do it. And guess what? That's the woman in Proverbs, the virtuous woman who can go out and do all these things because she's watched her husband. She's looked at him. She understands his likes, his dislikes, and now she can act in his absence. That's not a weak woman. That's the woman this world fears. Sarah. Come on.
Yes, sir. Verse 7. Likewise, ye husbands, dwell with them according to knowledge, giving honor unto the wife as unto the weaker vessel.
It says that, and the man must give honor to the wife or the woman as the weaker vessel. Women and men are different by nature. We must give honor to them as the weaker vessel. The Bible tells us that what? That her sorrows would be multiplied. Women will make a lot of decisions. That's right. Spontaneous decisions strictly off of how she feels. Men are more logical. It doesn't make her feelings wrong. But it is a weakness. That's still a weakness. So give honor to the woman as the weaker vessel. That means a man is supposed to work to not have women deal with a lot of the pressures that men would normally deal with. See? Understanding that what? She wasn't made to hunt. She wasn't made to be the provider. She wasn't made to do what this system has moved her into, being a man, doing men duty, only to believe that men at home, we, can now expect her when she get home after working in a man's position all day. We expect her to turn that off and be submissive, to be feminine. When the pressure of work in the world was placed on her, she was put in a man's position. So we must give honor to her as the weaker vessel. And this is why women have to think twice before they run into the workforce or want to be a part of what's going on out there, knowing that that's a finite time that they would actually be able to make money and what they're sacrificing after their earning potential goes down with their outward, with their looks. See? You're out there hustling, bustling and all that, but it was meant for a man to do that. Because you've taken on male roles, CEOs, this, that, and the other, making hard decisions, bad day at work. And how can now you transfer to home to be that feminine, nurturing woman that's pleasing for a husband after you done exhausted everything all day at work? So men have to give honor to women as a weaker vessel to take those things off of her plate. To take that off of her plate so that now she don't have to fight the world. We fight the world for her, and she deals in her nature as a nurturer, as a care for the children. We go and slay the lion, and we'll lean on her for advice and other things, and she'll do some things we need her to do, but the pressures of the world isn't on her. The pressure is on the shoulders of men, not the hips of women. So we must give honor to the woman as the weaker vessel, knowing that if the world put man responsibilities on her, men cannot expect to be dealing with a woman that has the mind of a woman. So that steps up with our duty. The Most High said that we must work. We must do certain things so that she don't have to, so that she can operate in her feminine nature. Finish reading.
Yes, sir. Likewise, ye husbands, dwell with them according to knowledge.
According to knowledge.
Giving honor unto the wife as unto the weaker vessel.
We have to understand that what? There's a breaking point for women. They're not like men. There's a breaking point for them. They're weaker. The Most High made them that way, physically and otherwise. They were made to depend on a man. They were made to depend on a man. And whether a woman realizes it or not, if you convince yourself and say you don't need a man, why not have a higher extension of yourself that's strong? That can do the things you know you'll never touch. Okay, oh man. Is that a dead mice downstairs? Is that a dead rat downstairs? Who you want to go get that? Who you want cleaning that up? Right? Tree fall near the building. Who you want to move that? Some guy acting out of turn. Who do you want to stand in your stead when threatened? See? A man. But with that comes submission. You don't get all that a man is. You don't get what a man is in the Bible without submission. They don't go hand in hand. So there's a trade-off on either side that benefits either side. Right? Let's read.
Yes, sir. It says,
Oh yeah, move the. I mean, that got to be deep to just be a woman and say, you know what? I need my furniture moved around. It's like they got magic powers. I need my furniture moved around. And next thing you know, men are moving the furniture. Oh yeah, I need dinner tonight. Yeah, what you want to do? That's power, right? That's power. I need y'all to think about that. Go into a place where men are and expect not to pay anything. A man don't know how that feels. That's power. Listen, even in the world, a man to go to a club or go someplace, and guess what? They have to check their wallet first. They know they'll need money to go out. And women will go out without a dime and come back home blasted without spending a dime. That's power. Now, I'm going to go into a lot of this more tomorrow, but there's already benefits just for being a woman. So why not take all those benefits and say, you know what? I appreciate these benefits. And my trade-off is what? I'm going to be agreeable. My trade-off with this is I don't mind being submissive. I don't mind. When furniture need to be moved, guess what? You can say it as if it's supposed to move by itself. You already understand that when you say it, it's happening. You have to realize it takes muscles, time, and care for a man to do what you say. And to some certain degrees, that's a form of submission that men are doing. Fulfilling this role to you. You never even looked at it that way, did you? Automatically, some of the things you want done, you don't even think twice about it. You know it's done by that man, and you never seen that as a form of submission or respect to you. So, and that's where we have to also highlight, and I'm going to talk about that tomorrow, when there's no appreciation and the spirit of entitlement kicks in. Right? Finish reading.
It says, and as being heirs together of the grace of life.
And being heirs together, because really, we're heirs together. We're not enemies. We're not enemies. The world turned us against one another, and it started in the beginning with that fruit. Partaking of that fruit of good and evil. That was the first thing that began that friction between man and woman. But understand, the Most High didn't intend it that way in the beginning. That we're heirs together. We aren't enemies. It's the enemy, the devil, who made us believe that we should hate each other. That we should not like one another. We're heirs together. We're heirs together. The same promises Christ has for man, he has for women. We're together. And we have to stop looking at the areas from whence we disagree and start understanding how much we have in agreement with one another. And start there first and appreciate that. We're heirs together. Let me tell you, men ain't making it by themselves. Women aren't making it by themselves. We need one another. And see, men aren't afraid to say that he needs that a man is never afraid to say that he need a woman. You have never heard men say, I don't need women. So we need to fight some of this destructive verbiage that have become a mainstay within our community, where a woman can say she don't need a man. That's foolishness. You'll never see a man outright say, I don't need a woman. And it's time for not only men, women to stand up against that nonsense. Because you have good women, humble women, virtuous women, women who love God, who are now suffering. And they're suffering, why? Because now others who have given them a bad image. And with that image, men are now seeing them as these what? Lot's wife, liberal. And now our women are suffering who want to be right, because why? They're going to have to start standing up and saying, well, listen, you can say you don't need a man, but in the beginning it wasn't so. I'm not agreeing with this crap no more. We're suffering with it. We need men and men need us. And then hit them with this. Thus saith the Lord. Well, I don't believe in the Bible. Well, that's what they'll come back with. And you know what? You respond with, but I do. But I do. We've tried it the no Bible way. Look at this world. Read it, Elder Lawyer.
Yes, sir. It's being heirs together of the grace of life, that your prayers be not hindered.
That your prayers be not hindered. Being heirs to life, that your prayers be not hindered. If you can't agree with one another as husband and wife, how can you expect to pray to God and have your household what? Blessed. How can you pray to God together and have your household blessed? When there's negativity between the two, that's the prayer that's going up before the Almighty. So usually the husband and wife can pray together when they're on one accord together. So you might as well, this is why you may wonder where husband and wife, sometimes they don't pray together. That's because why? There's a disagreement there. But once that disagreement is gone, you can now be on one accord and not have your prayers hindered, because what? You've settled your differences. You can pray together now. See? Finish reading.
Verse 8, finally, be ye all of one mind.
Be of one mind.
Having compassion of one another.
Having compassion one of another. That means considering one another. It's not just my view, how I see it. There's two sides there. Okay? So when there is some type of disagreement or conflict, either side have to understand there's two separate views which are equally important. Which are equally important. Not just what this person is saying and you're going to convince me that what you're saying is right. No. Two sides are equally important when it comes to disagreements. And I'm not just going to hear your side. I'm going to need to know you heard my side too. So we can come to a consensus. See, that's how adults solve issues. Right? And that's how man and woman come on one accord. But at the end of it, there's a tiebreaker. Y'all know know who the tiebreaker is, folks? The head. The head is the tiebreaker. It might seem unfair, but this is what's called order. Why? Because sometimes, even to stop an argument, one side suffer wrongfully. This argument is going nowhere. You suffer wrongfully and you let the Most High bring in the judgment. If you're dealing with a person who fears God and is a good person, you know if they love God, even if they don't see eye to eye with this particular point of argument, that this person is a caring person who will come around when they see their fault. And you must trust that that's the person that God has blessed you with. So it's not about being right at that moment. It's about submitting even if you suffer wrongfully. You're dead right, and let the Most High bring it around. That's humility. Come on.
Finally, be ye all of one mind, having compassion one of another.
Come on.
Love as brethren, be pitiful, be courteous.
Love as brethren, be pitiful, which is what? Considerate, and what?
Be courteous.
And be courteous. And that's one thing that's hard to do in the midst of disagreements. In the midst of disagreements, we tend to believe that there's an enemy for our life on the other side, that's coming for our life on the other side of the disagreement. We forget. This is not a person coming for my life. This is my other half. So then when the scriptures, this is why Paul had to write the letters to the churches. Like, listen, if we allow Satan to fester, there will be war unto death. Man will eventually kill woman, or woman kill man, or something will happen where the woman will call the cops, man come in and kill man, or man is going to hit the woman and the man is going to go to jail, be killed in jail. See? So Paul started writing letters and saying, listen, the enemy is going to make you believe these arguments are the end of the end of the world, the all to end all. They're going to make you believe these stupid arguments really has substance. They're going to make you believe that it's life or death if you don't win this argument. But that's Satan. That's Satan. See? Oh, man, that class is going to be good tomorrow. Wait till you see some of the stuff I'm going into. But anyway, Elder Lawyer, let's get on Asia real quick.
Yes, sir.
Lead us back to the community, and then we'll pray off, and I'll give the announcement on what I'll be talking about tomorrow in the academy. Let's get the one in Asia from the 15th verse. I mean, the 15th chapter.
Yes, sir. 2nd Ezra 15, verse 43.
2nd Ezra 15 and 43, because I mentioned when it talks about the adorning of the woman's outward appearance, that they would aim these things specifically at the daughters of Zion. Why? And I'm going to go into it more tomorrow. In America, they have done a job on our sisters, on all women, but our sisters in particular, with this European standard of beauty. You couple that with Hollywood, and they have played a psych job on our sisters, where our sisters believe they're not beautiful enough unless they do something. They're not good enough unless they do something to their bodies and all of that. That's right, folks. Programming, witchcraft, sorcery. And this is why I'm going to tell you right now, Japheth. And don't forget, Japheth was one of the sons of Noah, and their name alone is what? Their name alone implies a beautiful people, especially as far as their women looking in their youth longer than most women. A beautiful people. So these will be the people at the very end in charge. That's right, for the products and the accessories for beauty. Hence, they have popped up all in our communities to play on our women insecurities, to prey on it. And on top of that, to siphon out finances out of our communities to be used and to incentivize the one world order against us. Money is a defense, but they have used the beauty industry to siphon out a large number of the finances that should have been there to protect men, women, and children of our community. And that's an angle no one have discussed out there. That's warfare, what they're doing in our communities. By first, through the media, making our women believe that they're not pretty enough. That's psychological warfare on the daughters of Zion. And it's unfair because our young daughters aren't told how to fend against this at an early age. They're being sucked up into it. Why? Because their mothers didn't know. Their mothers are products of the same, that's right, folks, of the same social engineering, the same PSYOP. Right? But then it comes down to the men, right? That's why I'm going to tell y'all exactly how we did this tomorrow. I'm going to touch on it before it's over. Brothers have to almost, I'm going to tell you, if you're in the truth and you believe this Bible, you got to stand with your wife. Stand with your wife and let her know, under no uncertain terms will cosmetics be on your daughters. They will grow into an adult and make a choice at an age they're able to, with the knowledge given to them through father and mother. Okay? And I'm going to talk about that more so tomorrow. But having Asians in our community, this is why the Asian hate bill was signed and all that, because they realized that we would figure out that this is warfare. Siphoning money out of our communities through the beauty system, and also making our women believe that they're not good enough, which would turn them angry, upset, where they would have to feel like they would rally with each other for the sake of self-preservation against everyone, including their men. They knew that what they were doing. But now the Most High have sent servants, teachers, and say, listen, it's not your fault. You grew up doing what you thought was right, what your parents pushed you to do. It's not your fault that this system tried to make the daughters of Zion less desirable than everyone else. What can you expect? You are the daughters of Zion, God's chosen women. You can expect to be attacked. You can expect for them to try to put you low on a totem pole because of who you are. But you don't have to, you don't have to no longer fall for the psyop. We can break the curse. The men can break the curse, and you sisters, you can break the curse too. Let's read it real quick, Elder Lawyer.
2 Ezra 15, verse 43.
2 Ezra 15 and what?
43.
At 15 and 43. Let's read it.
And they shall go steadfastly unto Babylon and make her afraid. They shall come to her and besiege her. The star and all wrath shall they pour out upon her. Then shall the dust and smoke go up unto the heaven, and all they that be about her shall bewail her.
It's talking about the war that will soon come to Babylon. It started in the Middle East, and now it's making its way over here, folks. The same things we seen with the Arab Spring and all that has now been isolated to the Western world, predominantly on America, specifically on America, to do what? To take it down and replace it with a new regime change. It's already happening. It's already happening. And like I said earlier, watch and see how they try to talk about the numbers and more counts going up or a variant or something, so that they can now make it where by the time of the election, they into this garbage they was into in 2020 and they try to finesse the election again. Watch. But I digress. Finish reading.
45. And they that remain under her shall do service unto them that have put her in fear.
Read.
And thou, Asia.
And thou what?
And thou, Asia.
And thou, Asia. The judgment comes on Babylon. Then the Most High points what? He points the judgment on China. Because why? Read.
Thou art partaker of the hope of Babylon.
You are partakers of the hope of Babylon. You both have colluded against God's people and have preyed on our women. See? This was all systematic, folks. Them coming over here, getting grants, business deals, and all that to set up in our communities. This was all strategic. And it was meant, and what we're seeing in our communities right now was the plan. Everything you're seeing in our communities was systematically planned. Satan would leave nothing to chase. Neither to chance. Neither would the world governments. Everything you're seeing in our communities was planned. This is a social genocide with our people participating in it. Read.
Verse number 47.
Read the last thing again.
46.
Yep.
And thou, Asia, that are partaker of the hope of Babylon, and art the glory of her person.
And you are the glory of her person, which means China have emboldened itself with what? With aligning itself financially with America. This is why Walmart and others have all their goods made in China. That was an agreement to financially embolden them against us by taking all the jobs we did once in America for our families and do what? And shift all those jobs over to what? India and China. That was a plan to starve us out slowly. And at the same time, incentivize them to go to our schools, become doctors, lawyers, politicians. At the same time, give them grants to build businesses in our communities. And through these businesses, they would siphon money to their children to come over to do what? To supplant us. That was a plan. But the God of Israel see you, China. Not only will Babylon be judged, because you've helped Babylon against us, the Most High will turn against you next. You came into the communities, and guess what? Treating our people as slaves. I go to West Philly, I go to North Philly, and I see the people you hire in your stores. And I see how you treat the people who you hire in our stores. In these stores that have incentivized you and made you rich off of the finances that our people need within the communities. Not only do I see you, God sees you. Read.
47. Woe be unto thee, thou wretch, because thou hast made thyself like unto her.
And God calls you a wretch. You see why they don't want you in the Bible, folks? It identifies all the enemy's political agendas against our people. God calls that country a wretch. Why?
Woe be unto thee, thou wretch, because thou hast made thyself like unto her, and hast decked thy daughters in whoredom, that they might please and glory in thy lovers, which have always desired to commit whoredom with thee.
Because at one time there was honor in your country. And now you have given your daughters over to be what? To be dishonorable, just like the women of the West. And at one time there was honor in Asia. And you have turned yourself out just like the harlot. So guess what? The judgment of the harlot is happening. It will happen. The Bible teaches us that what? At the very end, once America's judged finally, a plague will hit Asia. And guess what? It will not be from a laboratory. And when that plague happens, all power will go back to the 10 horns, who will rule for a short space. So China will not get away. I need y'all to understand how crazy this is. Our people swung from trees. We built the country that all the immigrants and others are coming over here to partake on. We've suffered more hate than any other people in the history of this earth right here in America as the sons of Judah, as the daughters of Judah. And yet not one hate crime bill has been passed for our people here in America. But at the very end of this all, as soon as the new administration was voted in, there's an Asian hate crime bill. Does that make any sense to any of you folks? Does that make any sense? Now, no people should should suffer hate from other people. But you would have thought that all we did to so-called get someone in office, that they would think about us first. I need y'all to really think about that, folks. If you have a sexual persuasion outside of the Bible, there's a hate bill for you if you're willing to deal with intersectional activity outside of the laws of the Bible. If you are a nation who's already a rich nation, who will financially grandize yourself off of Israelites, our people suffering in America through your beauty supply stores and others, and set up all this enterprise using on the blood, sweat, and tears of our people, you would think these were the last people who would need a crime bill, a hate crime bill. But they are in league. They are in league. Both of these people who require hate crime bills are in league together against us. So when are we going to come together and do what's right and follow God's law and get on code with one another? When are we going to be in agreement with one another to save the few who would be left? There will be a judgment. And now the Bible is the only book that can identify the political agendas against us, the overall political perspectives that they will always have against us, which is what? Vitriol. And also the Bible lets us know that the only way out of this is to come back to our God, who can help defend against the genocide. Last scripture, Elder Lawyer. Let's get that first verse of the next chapter.
Yes, sir. 2nd Ezra 16, verse number 1.
Come on.
Woe be unto thee, Babylon.
Woe be unto thee, Babylon.
And Asia.
And Asia.
Woe be unto thee, Egypt and Syria.
And Egypt and Syria.
Gird up yourselves with sackcloth, or of sacks of hair, or cloths of sack and hair.
Folks, these are all the nations who have financially grandized themselves off of the children of Israel throughout history. And deep, this was deep, brothers and sisters. They tell people in the Christian church not to read the Apocrypha. It's not spiritually inspired. When it's really one of the only books politically that can point to strategically what they're doing right now. See? Come on.
Gird up yourselves with cloths of sack and hair. Bewail your children and be sorry, for your destruction is at hand.
For your destruction is at hand. You're planning a genocide against the children of Israel throughout the four corners of the earth. That's what you're doing here in America, and that's what you're doing in Africa right now. But the prophecies tells us you fail. The only people you get are those that are complicit or in agreement with you of our people. Those are the only people you get. But those who can see are protected by the Almighty and will pray against your agendas. Brothers and sisters, I named this society divided, nation against nation, to show you that it's deeper than chess race. So with the information right now, will you choose a side? Will you choose the side of righteousness when it comes to God's law and come back to the book? Men, will you choose God's side by stepping into the role that was given us from the beginning? Sisters, will you step into your role from the beginning to be a helpmeet to this man who was born to protect you? Will we both teach our children this culture to fend against what's coming? The culture that's only taught within this book, the culture of Israel. A nation divided against itself cannot stand. And one of the greatest I would say, advantages these other nations have against us is that they, listen to me clearly, they value family and they have never lost the power that comes with their national origin. They still have the history from ancients leading way back thousands of years. Every nation except us. When are we going to realize the value of that, the advantage of that? By not just believing in the Bible or believing in the religion, but coming back to the knowledge that we are in fact the children of Israel, which is really that, and the belief in Christ will be our only saving grace. With that concludes my lesson today. Society divided, nation against nation. There's a lot to unpack for those who claim that, why do we charge in the academy and all that? Folks, what we're teaching in these lessons are eye-opening. Our Sabbath lessons, our Wednesday classes, let me tell you, it don't cost you anything at all. And guess what? This is food. This is wisdom and knowledge that will be the stability of our time. It's correction that we can actually apply to become better people, and it cost us absolutely nothing at all for the time that was spent here since about a little after 12 o'clock. And it's about 3 o'clock now. And I'm putting that out there to say, listen, thank you, brothers and sisters, for supporting the Hebrew and Bible Academy and spending what you spend to help us go forward, knowing that a famine is coming and knowing that someone must prepare beyond that, and it's going to take resources. Thank you. Now, our lesson tomorrow, the modern day Adam, Eve, and the serpent. I got a lot of my charts and all that here. And what I'm going to be going into is showing from the heavenly realm the distinct duties between masculine and feminine, starting from God and the Holy Spirit, to show that men were supposed to operate on earth in God's role, and women who are happy operates in the spirit that was made through the Holy Spirit. What is her design role as the feminine? And you're going to find that a woman is more free to do a lot of other things, that her operating in the spirit of a man actually restrict the power of a woman's femininity. You're all in all like the Holy Spirit, and you can flow and do all types of great things in the nature of a woman. And I'm going to be talking about that tomorrow. Also, I'm going to go into the money systems, how they use the love of money to divide families in what? In role reversal, man and woman. And I'm going to show you, folks, they lied to both of us. The devil is a liar. He lied to men and he lied to women. And you know what? Both sides ate it up. He lied to men and he lied to women. And I'm going to go into that. The money systems. And I'm going to go into the fact that the modern world have made certain things and have made imperative roles, important roles that a man must perform or a woman must perform optional, which is a breakdown of society altogether. There's defining roles that a man must continue in and a woman must continue in to have society thrive and to go on beyond for generations. And they make us believe that you can just choose either side and can do it equally, not realizing that mindset is a hindrance. I'm going to be talking about that tomorrow. right? I'm going to be talking about a man produces to gain a wife's hand in marriage. Okay? I'm going to go into that and I'm going to show biblical examples of how a man works to get a wife. Number one. Number two, women cannot choose a husband. I'm going to repeat it again. In the silly stage or the youth of a woman, she doesn't have the wisdom to be able to choose right. And this system knows that. Because he chooses off of what? Her feelings, the outward appearance. Because the guy cute. Well, everyone in your age range is looking okay. You don't choose men because of that. Man, I look at some of the people that women thought was cute when I was growing up, and I look at them now, and I'm like, if they only knew who this would become. But guess who knew? In old times, the fathers knew. That's why the fathers made the decision and didn't allow silly or impressionable to choose men at an early age. I'm going to be going into that. Where men cannot get women that they're not financially able to sustain. That's against God's law. We're going into all that more in the numbers when we go into the modern day Adam, Eve, and the serpent. Taught like it was never taught before. In the Hebrew and Bible Academy tomorrow, I have graphs, statistics. You don't want to miss this lesson, brothers and sisters. I'm glad you're in. With that, I'm going to say shalom. See you tomorrow. And what we'll do is we'll end it with the Lord's Prayer, then wish you all Godspeed. Elder Lawyer?
Yes, sir. Ahaya.
Ahaya.
Bahasham.
Bahashim.
Yeshaya.
Yeshaya.
Warawak.
Warawak.
Our Father.
Our Father.
Who art in heaven.
Who art in heaven.
Hallowed be thy name.
Hallowed be thy name.
Thy kingdom come.
Thy kingdom come.
Thy will be done.
Thy will be done.
On earth.
On earth.
As it is in heaven.
As it is in heaven.
Give us this day.
Give us this day.
Our daily bread.
Our daily bread.
And forgive us our debts.
And forgive us our debts.
As we forgive our debtors.
As we forgive our debtors.
Lead us not to temptation.
And lead us not into temptation.
But deliver us from evil.
But deliver us from evil.
For thine is the kingdom.
For thine is your kingdom.
And the power.
And the power.
And the glory.
And the glory.
Forever.
Forever.
Amen.
Amen. Thank you. May the Most High be with you. See you tomorrow in the academy. And I thank the Most High for the truth, for Christ, for the knowledge. I thank the Most High for you. Stay prayed up, sin not, and remember, Lot's wife. Right? We're the children of Israel. And we're back. Shalom. Ahaya's calling back Israel. Whoa. All right. Let me see. I'm going to get the song here. Ahaya's calling back Israel. What's going on here? Well, desktop songs. I'll play one of these songs here. Oh, this is even better. Well, not better, but I like this also. Good day. We're Israel and we're back.
Lie to me. I see it's written all over your face. Scientific intricity.
not. See what I spit and pursuing shot like electrical currents. So current, leaving you paralyzed. And this truth is so amplified while your ego's reducing size. We a menace to your society, taking your kingdom violently. Pick a paddle to the battle. We can be here in a valley of an alley with the matter. It's a matter of time. They gonna come, but we done. You be looking for Zion. I run the race until I finish. A higher power giving me the ability. Chosen people with no love of a mystery. We won't stop.
You think that I can't see? Hey, what you doing to me? Yeah.